Okay, in this video we are going to be looking at gesture recognizers, and just to wrap up one little thing before that, I did decide that I could put this if statement in our setup physics method in the character class outside of this if statement where the exact same lines of code appear twice. You never want to do that. It's not a disaster, but it's just not efficient, is it? And then I've set the restitution down to 0.2 so the bounciness is lowered, but allows rotation to no because eventually these gesture recognizers are going to start to move our character around, and that'll part of that will get taken care of with the we'll take care of the rotation. And then finally, let's go ahead and add in a couple more things here to the our collision and our contact test bit mask, which is just going to be to include other players in there as well. So we'll be listening out for collisions with both the wall and another player. All right, so over here on our level, let's also, while we're just kind of tidying things up, let's set the gravity down to 0.0 for both the X direction and the Y direction. And once you've done that, now you're ready to go. So let's go over here to the very top of the implementation file in our interface block, and I'm going to go ahead and just paste all these in, so feel free to pause the video on your end. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of set up a lot of these gesture recognizers all in one big swoop. So we've got a UI swipe gesture recognizer for our first 4 of these. Then we've got 3 tap gesture recognizers, and then we've got a rotation gesture recognizer. And these are kind of obvious. Well, eventually they're just going to move the character left, right, up, or down. This one is just going to handle if you tap once, that'll be to attack. A 2-finger tap or a 3-finger tap, or if you want to extend this to even a 4-finger tap, is going to swap the leader position with whoever is in the number 2 spot or the number 3 spot. Okay, and again, you can do that with 4 characters if you want as well. Now that we've declared these, we can go ahead and get them set up. The reason I'm declaring them is because I do want to reference them in 2 different methods. All right, and the first one's going to be this did move to view method, and where best to put this. Let's go ahead and let's start organizing things a little bit, and with that in mind, let's put in here pragma mark camera centering. Okay, and then above that we'll put in here pragma mark gestures. And what does that do for you? Well, check this out. Now if you click right here, see this, you can see that we're kind of sectioning off bits of our code. All right, and another good one would be right here, contact listener. And that's did I spell it right? Yeah. That's usually stuff that you're gonna end up returning to quite often, or again, it's just for simple organization too. So, all right, inside of here, we are going to write void did move to view, and you'll see that you get a little note here. It says called immediately after a scene is presented by the view. Great. The parameter here is the important part because it's going to be this view right here that we add our gesture recognizer to. And again, to kind of save us on time, I'm going to start to paste these in for you all. And here are the first 4 of them. I'm not sure what the oh, right. Sorry. So swipe gesture left, right, up, down. These all kind of follow the same pattern here. We are going to allocate them. Init with target self. Okay, self is just this class. And then at selector is going to be, or this method selector name is going to be what gets run if a gesture is recognized with these settings here. So that setting is set direction, UI swipe gesture recognizer, direction left, and then this last line of code here just adds that to the view. So if we want to start to silence these warnings, all we need to do is right over here void, and then handle swipe left, and it is going to be looking for us to pass in the recognizer with it. And in this case, you're going to put in UI swipe gesture recognizer, and then recognizer. Okay, So inside of this method now, you could reference the recognizer and access some of the states involved with that. So one of them might be a number of touches required, or a number of touches that occurred while the swipe is going on. For right now, let's just leave these blank. So what we can do is a quick copy and paste here as well for the other ones, just so we don't have to listen to those warnings. And I guess I should put these in the same order I've got them up there. So up and down. Now, before I do anything else, I want to go ahead and get this in here. There is a corresponding method for dealing with your scenes when they move from the view. All right, and again, you've got in here your view parameter, and what we want to do here is remove the gesture recognizer. And I'll do these again, and I'll just copy all these in, and I'll put in a little note here, that says scene moved from view. And until we transition out of this scene, of course, you're not going to see this, but believe me, you want to get this in here now, because this led to some problems when I was transitioning my view, and basically I was tapping something in one of the other scenes, okay, in my start menu scene, and these gestures were still getting recognized, or at least this one right here was, but it didn't have, at that point, it didn't have a corresponding method handler to go to, so it just crashed the application. And it didn't actually give me a really good indication of why it was crashing at first, so it took me a little bit of debugging to figure that out. So get those guys in there right now, and now let's go ahead and add in the other ones, and got 3 more to go here. So they're going to be, and you know what, again, just to save us time, let's paste these in. So we've got our tap once, and the selector will be tapped once. Over here I'm saying that the number of taps required is just 1, and the number of touches required is going to be just 1. And in these other 2 cases as well, the number of taps required is just going to be 1 in both of those, but the difference here is that the number of touches is going to be 2 and 3, all right? And then finally our rotation one is, oddly enough, the easiest one to set up, and in it with target self, again, just there's the method name, and we put in here just add gesture recognizer. All right, so let's do a bit more copying and pasting. I'll copy these 3, and then I will take that method name right there. Oh, actually I need a few more, don't I? I need 1 more of these. And these method names are getting a little bit specific to what function is happening in the game. Tap to switch to second, meaning the second in command. And there we have it. All right. Now these should actually work, and what better way to test them right now by just putting in here a little NSLog statement. So in this one, we'll just say left, right, up. This will give you guys a chance to catch up with me if you're following along. Let's these are kind of out of order. Let's put this one right here. 2-finger tap, 1-finger tap, 3-finger tap, and finally, actually, you know what, before we test this, let's add in a bit of code here, which will be to test the state of this. And we're going to put if recognizer dot state equals, and let's see if it'll fill this in for me. Oh, you know what? Oh, a few more problems here. UI gesture recognizer state ended. I want to test when the state ends, and only then will I call this. If you're following along closely, you'll realize the mistake that I've made here. This is not a swipe gesture recognizer, is it? It's a UI rotation gesture recognizer, And this is a UI tab gesture recognizer. Okay, now let's give this a shot. Keep forgetting to get rid of that. Okay, so right, left, up, down, one finger tap, two finger tap. I can't test a three finger one, can I? Let's just assume it's working well, and then finally holding down the option key to get these guys again. I'm going to rotate. I'm rotating, and then I'm going to let go, and it says rotation ended. Great. If I didn't put this state recognizer in here, I would this would potentially get called multiple times. All right. So we'll isolate that to just the end state, and there we go. That's a good little setup.